Hey, and thank you for clicking play. And yes, it is time for an update on, well, on the Mad Max Sega Megadrive found in the bush, but also on the one gifted that we thought that was working. So this is going to be a very honest video, and then we'll recap where we're at the end. Let's do it. Starting with the good Megadrive. If you remember before, yes, it turns on and all appears to be working, but select a game and this one also dumps to a black screen. So time to open up a console, and basically the menu probably fires up because that's on the ROM of the cartridge, I'm led to believe, maybe, or maybe it's talking to the Z80, but certainly when it tries to talk to the main CPU, nothing's happening. So I'm just going to go for cleaning the slot, because black screen YouTube videos for Mega Drive, that's all anybody ever does. So brand new toothbrush and the right tools for the job, some actual contact cleaner this time, and I set about doing some spraying and scrubbing. And while the good one is drying off, I decided to give a similar treatment to the Mad Max motherboard here as well. And while the Mad Max Sega Megadrive dries outside, it's time to go back inside and once again test the good one. And that's right, sadly, black screen once again. And so the other fix I'd seen people applying when you get the black screen is pushing the contacts out on the cartridge slot. And it looks simple enough, and it seemed to fix most people's black screen issues. This is the part of the video I could quite easily delete, because the internet is a cruel place. Because as you can see here, I really screwed this up. A simple task, and the teeth were like pushing too far out of the plastic. So look, complete transparency here. I messed up, all right? I messed this up, and stupidly I'd done this on the good Mega Drive rather than practicing first on the one found in the bush. So I spent most of my time trying to put the teeth back where they should be. There was nothing wrong with them. But to redeem myself just a little bit, look, I did do some sensible poking around with a multimeter and checking the voltage regulators, because they can be a known failure point. But these are fine. There's no clues to something I can obviously swap out to bring this Mega Drive back to life. And the other thing I did was with the power on after it had been on for a while, just feeling the chips. So the Motorola at the back there, and I think that's the Z80, or is it the one in front of it? Anyway, touching all the things to see if one is particularly hot or particularly cold. Nothing really stood out. They felt like chips to me. That's what they felt like. I don't know what I'm doing. So with my newfound skills, it was back out to the Mad Max. And just to remind those that are, joining in part 3, potentially, this Mega Drive that I'm scrubbing now was the one that was found at an illegal dump site in the bush, covered in red Australian dirt. Had been rained on, had probably been eaten by dingoes and spat back up again. So I'm giving this a good clean. But as you can see, there's not much muck coming off it. with the brand new toothbrush and the proper contact cleaner. But I gave it a really good go just to see if I could get anything out. And then I just thought, well, it's a good time to also just clean the pegs on some of those other chips, and just clean the rest of the board that my previous hosings had left behind. And then don't be fooled by the fact that we're inside. This is again the Mad Max Sega Megadrive we're looking at. Just testing. You can tell by the rust. Just testing to see if we've got anywhere. And sadly, everything so far has made no difference whatsoever to this particular system. So then, trying to learn from our mistakes of the past, I actually shoved a plastic credit card-like thing into the cartridge slot and then proceeded with the pushy-outy pinny technique, as I will call it, just to see if it will get me anywhere on this. And I hate to say it, but I made, even with that card in place, the pins were still, I was pushing them too hard, I think. They was going out beyond the plastic, and I made a right hash up of them. And again, spent more time trying to correct my work rather than it achieving any particular results. So once again, I tried to look like a hero and at least check the voltage regulators, thinking, because the symptoms are slightly different between these two machines, and so maybe that was the issue on these, but these again are absolutely fine from what I could tell. They were voltage regulating, like voltage regulators, 'cause that's what they do. This next bit's not safe for work because I cracked out my Christmas brand new soldering iron and stand, and I thought I'd have a go at reflowing the cartridge port, but of course I was sensible enough to start with the Mad Max Megadrive, not the nice shiny one. Let's have a look at my efforts. Having never done this before, working with a brand new soldering iron, I assumed all I needed to do was basically heat up the existing solder until it goes a bit shiny, meaning it's heated up, turned back to a liquid, moved around a bit, and then I can remove the soldering iron and it can cool down in place. That was my method. Let's speed this up, because otherwise it's a bit dull. Yep, that was a waste of time too. Fantastic. So I actually switched to my old faithful soldering iron because I wasn't sure the new one was doing the job. And I think I was right, because the larger tip, and maybe it's got a higher operating temperature, I'm not sure, but I certainly seem to notice more flow, if I can put it that way. More flow, but game. No show. So given that reflowing the cartridge port was a completely pointless task on the Mad Max Megadrive, I of course decided to repeat the exercise on the good one, again taking lots of care on this one, and at least I'd practiced the right way round this time, and started with the fatty soldering iron for that extra girth. Fingers crossed, this has made a difference. Come on. Let's have a look. As we say in Western Australia, Yeah, nah. So, where to from here? I'm clearly out of my depth. I think we need somebody with more skills than myself, somebody local, and somebody that can continue showing the journey of the Mad Max Sega Megadrive on YouTube. Before I get on to where the Mad Max Sega Megadrive is going to head, I want to talk about the one that I think I'll now nickname Furiosa. So Furiosa will stay with me, and I think I'll work with Shane, the guy that gifted, with if he's willing. And I'll just update you at some point in the future. Don't hold your breath because it might not be anytime soon. But when we get this working, we'll let you know what was wrong with it. That's where we'll go with this one. But the one you're more interested in is Mad Max, the Mad Max Sega Megadrive, and the collection. I think I'll bundle in the whole collection. So, link in the description to a guy that I'm about to go meet at the pub. Let's go. Okay, and this is the guy. It's Retro Game On. So I'll put a link to his channel down in the description and in the chat. But there you go, mate. See what you can do with the Mad Max Sega Megadrive. And I thought long and hard about it, but I've also thrown in the controller and the Gamegear as well.
Really? Oh, wow.
That were all found in the same patch. So there you go. So I've now officially swapped a Megadrive and a Gamegear for this pint of Guinness, and I think I've done well.
I think I've done well too.
Alright, enjoy.
I'll open it up at home.
Yeah. There you go. He doesn't know what he's in for. So do please go and subscribe to Retro Game On to follow the rest of this collection's journey. If anybody can do it, he can. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching.